Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. I'm getting better and better at this live thing, man. I'm not taking this. I'm not wasting too much time. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. So I'm gonna hop right into this. Hit the like button on your way in if you don't mind. Or as people say, why would I hit the like button at the beginning? What if I end up not liking the video? Well, just take the like back if you don't like the video. But for those of you that are rocking with me, please hit the like button if you don't mind. Give me ones in the chat if you can hear me, and we can go ahead and hop into this. This video is crazy. This video is going to be crazy. All right, bet. Okay. Well, for those of you that don't know, very popular gospel musician. For those of you that have not seen the video, very popular gospel musician, Lecrae. Freaking Lecrae has over 1 million YouTube subscribers. Actually used a snippet from my podcast and called himself debunking my fraternity video, exposing fraternities and sororities, right? Even though he claims to be a follower of Christ. And I gave a response in my last live. When you get a chance, go and check it out. But I do have a more appropriate response coming in the next week or so. So be on the lookout for that. As a reminder, follow me on Instagram and Twitter as we are officially starting to post clips as I start to try to build the platforms over there. I would really appreciate it. I just got back from a road trip. Of course, my cat was going to do this. This is my cat, Peaches. She got to go. Y'all give me 1 sec. She got to go. Get up out of here, Paul. Get out of here, Paul. Okay. My bad. So, what was I gonna say? Hey, Peaches, that's funny. What was I about to say? So I have an appropriate response coming. Now, I just got back from a road trip, and I also have a puppy. I have 2 cats. Their names are Peaches and Cream, and I have a puppy who I had first. Her name is Cleo. Just to give y'all a little bit about my family. So, yes. So I leave for this road trip, and I decide to leave my MacBook here at the house. And I said, it always happens like this. As soon as I leave for the road trip, all of you all start spamming my email and my DMs on Instagram about a video that dropped as soon as I left. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind about Charlie Kirk and an event document that came out that I think changes everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm not only going to react to the information because it came out on the news, but I'm going to give another content creator the credit because not only was she the first to break the story as far as from a content creator's perspective, she's the only one that I saw that broke the story. But I also saw that she has intimate knowledge and experience working on college campuses. So I watched like the first few minutes of it, and I was like, I'm going to just react to this on the channel. A lot of you all may know who Sabby Sab is. Shout out to Sabby Sab. You can find the link to the full video in the description of this video. When you get a chance, please go show her some love. I wanted to react to her video, and hopefully she's all right with me reacting to her content. And I want to show you all the information that just came out that broke everything. But I'm going to add some commentary in addition to what Sabby shared because it's going to help, with as far as from a discernment perspective. So without further ado, man, let me go ahead and add this. Once again, hit the like button. This is going to be one of the most informative lives that we've done as it pertains to the Charlie Kirk situation. And yes, I've seen all of the news and stuff going around about Erica Kirk and JD Vance. I would like to talk about that in a separate video. So after this live ends, if you can remember, just hop in the comment section and let me know if you would like for me to make a video on that. I don't have to go live about it. I can just make a video about it and just give you all my perspective on what I think they're doing as it pertains to JD Vance and Erica Kirk, because I don't think it's an accident that they co-hosted an event together in Mississippi. And of course, the photos have went viral. And I would love to give you all my opinion, but only if you want it. So wait till this live ends. Hop in the comment section to give me your thoughts. And I want to go ahead without wasting too much time and react to this video by Sabby Sab. Once again, the link is in the description to her original video. Let's get into it.
I have an update here about this Charlie Kirk investigation. A friend of the show sent me this video. I don't know how I missed this, but they sent this to me and they wanted to get my opinion about it because they knew that I've worked at universities for quite some time. And a part of my position as an academic advisor also included planning events. Well, it appears that now the event form that was submitted for Utah Valley University has now been released. The local news station shared this information, and I just want to walk you through some of these alarming details here, and also what is important about these dates, when this form was submitted and what else was happening at that point in time. So we are continuing to talk about this, guys, because I really do believe, and I've said this before, Kash Patel, the FBI, they're covering up something. As I said before, I do not understand why the FBI is involved in this case to begin with anyway. We went through the list of requirements for the FBI to intervene in said case, and it's not checking off the boxes for me.
Wow. That's something I never considered. I never considered the fact that this wasn't even liable or didn't even fit the requirements for federal investigation. So why was the FBI involved to begin with, right? And I think it says a lot. It's incredibly pleasing to me to know that a person like Sabby Sabs, and all I mean by that is Sabby, I love her content, but Sabby would consider herself a leftist, right? I'm more conservative leaning as far as just, I don't consider myself conservative leaning when I'm talking about politics because I don't buy into the binary. The political binary or whatever. I think all of it is rigged, and corrupt. But I mean, like, as far as my values, I would be considered conservative. But Sabby considers herself a leftist. But the fact that she can still see this for what it is and saying that clearly the FBI is hiding something, Kash Patel is hiding something, preventing people from looking into this is extremely troublesome. But you got a lot of people like Officer Tatum, who's on the internet, and I'm going to show you all this later in the video. He's on Twitter criticizing people for noticing. Insanity. Let's continue.
So let's go ahead and go into this. That form to schedule this rally has now been released. And I do want to show you guys this here. We need to talk about this. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Utah Valley University has provided the document that created the rally at which conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot to death, but it is not providing the security plan for that day. I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. We've been asking UVU for records related to the September 10th Kirk rally. After about 6 weeks, this is the first record provided. It's the application submitted mid-July by the UVU chapter of Kirk's Turning Point USA.
Pause. Okay, the application for this event, for this rally that Charlie Kirk spoke at before he was killed, was submitted in mid-July. Now hold on to that date for just a second, that date range, because there was something else that happened mid-July.
I already know where she's going with this, and this is absolutely brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. And once again, as a reminder, there's a reason why I'm reacting to Sabby's her episode, because one, she did an incredible job, but two, she has experience working at MIT, Harvard. She's worked at these places specifically as an academic advisor, which means she helped facilitate events when, other people will come and speak at the campus. So she can tell us what's considered normal, what's considered abnormal.
So Is it standard to submit these applications for college events? Absolutely. Even if you are an internal organization, a campus organization, you still have to complete a form about your event. Now, usually on these forms, it will ask you a couple of questions. How many people are expected to attend the event? That's a big one. And also whether or not you will provide or you need it provided security detail if you need security. Now, we'll go ahead and say this. Typically with college events that are over a certain amount of people, sometimes 50, sometimes 100, that is required that you have security detail. It is also interesting to me that considering the fact that Charlie Kirk was a public figure, I feel like that should have been implied anyway. For example, when Ben Shapiro came to Boston University, when I was still at BU, when I was still working there, when he came to Boston University, there was security provided. So as an academic advisor, I have hosted multiple events for students because that was a part of my job. So I'm used to completing these forms. I know what the requirements are. And also typically if there are a certain amount of people, 50 or 50 to 100 or sometimes over 100 people, you're required to have security detail. If it's a public figure, it's required that the university has to provide some type of security detail. Let's continue on. This is really interesting, folks.
The applicants answer standard questions about time, place, and a description of the event. However, we noticed there is one question not asked on the form, whether organizers need any police protection. That's a standard inquiry at, for example, University of Utah events.
Pause. Let's go back and look at that form. He is telling you that that is a standard. It's a standard at the Utah Valley University events. And you can see it here. Police security, no or yes. Let's go back and hear what he said exactly again, just one more time. And I'll put the captions on here as well.
The applicants answer standard questions about time, place, and a description of the event. However, we noticed there is one question not asked on the form, whether organizers need any police protection.
He is saying that question, according to the application that they have received, did not have that question on the form.
Does that mean that they removed it? Does it mean that they had some sort of special form for Charlie Kirk and his team? Does it mean that the question was present, but they didn't require for them to answer the question? Like, how would that even work when you're applying? Because there has to be some sort of portal when you're applying for these events on these college campuses, I would assume.
Does everybody hear this? That with this particular event, this reporter is saying that the police protection question was not on the application form. That is unusual. From my experience, that is unusual, especially considering the fact that the event speaker is a public figure.
But not only that, you were just saying that normally if the audience is going to go over the 50 to 100 person count or head count, then it's not even mandatory. I mean, or it's mandatory at that point, right? You have to have security that is given to you by the campus, and maybe you can bring your own additional security as well. But to make matters even worse, not only was there over 100 people there, I think it's reported that it was 3,000 to 4,000 people or something like that. I mean, you were well over the threshold. And remember what the guy said. If you all have been following all of my lives, there was a guy who came out a while back that said, maybe a week and a half ago, that said that he was talking to the some one of his connects on the ground, who is one of the members of the security team, not the security team, but the law enforcement, the campus law enforcement. And he said they literally told him, and he showed us the screenshots of them telling this person that TPUSA security detail denied their request to assist them in securing the event. So that would eventually lead to any and everybody who just wanted to just walk and just join was free to do it. There was no metal detectors. There was no one patting people down. It was basically an open event for the public to participate in.
Guys, I've been doing this for a long time. I worked at universities for over 10 years. I worked at different schools. So I worked at MIT. I worked at Boston University. I worked at Northeastern. I worked a little bit temp at Harvard, but I've worked at different universities. And I'm here to tell you something here is not right. Why is it that all of a sudden something that is a standard for events at Utah Valley University is not present on the form for this particular event? That is very weird. And remember when the shooting happened, one of the questions that I did have was, okay, where was security? Where was campus security? Right. This is just unheard of. Guys, when I worked at MIT, Matt Damon was one of the commencement speakers. When Matt Damon came to speak for graduation, there was security everywhere. And it's not just someone who's a celebrity. If you're a public figure and you're speaking at a university, security is provided.
And I can speak to that firsthand knowledge. So this is what I've shared this a couple of times before, but many of you may have not caught it or caught the video where I have. But I'm a public speaker in real life. I've spoken to tens of thousands of young people at high schools and community colleges all across the state of Arkansas and surrounding states. And I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, and I'm not nearly I didn't nearly have the notoriety that Charlie Kirk had. When I came to events, there were security members there. Even if it was just 2 or 3, they covered the doors, and it was usually a person that stood by the stage whenever I spoke. Even if they're not there for my protection, they're there for the students' protection. You have to be there to protect someone. Why is it that there were only the security detail for TPUSA, which means they're only there to protect Charlie Kirk? They're not there to protect the students. Why was there no ambulance? Right? No medical team on site. Right? I just got back from a football game. They have them for football games. Not just because there are athletes present, but because of the amount of people that are present for the game. You just never know what can happen. So yes, I'm with Sabby on this, and I don't even have academic advisor experience. This is extremely unusual.
So something here is off. Wait till you hear this part.
That's a standard inquiry at, for example, University of Utah events. Speaking of police, UVU has denied Fox 13 News' request for a copy of the Kirk Rally security plan. The university is citing the provision in state records laws keeping confidential, quote, security measures, end quote.
Okay, so they have denied a copy of the security plan. So you can see it here. Access is denied under the following grammar provisions. So here's the thing. They feel as though this could hurt the investigation. So here we go, right?
This again.
Okay. One of two things is happening here. Either they're not providing that security plan information to the news station there. One, because there wasn't one, there wasn't a security plan. Or two, because there's something there that they don't want reported.
Something tells me that it's a little bit of both, Sabby. I think that there is a strong chance that there was no security detail. And I think in part, not just because of the campus, but everything I say in this video is alleged. Let's just put it this way. I don't think it was just the campus that decided that there wasn't going to be any security provided by the campus, which leads me to my second point. That in itself is something that they don't want us to see. Allegedly.
There's no way getting around this, ladies and gentlemen. That information should be readily available. And of course, if the FBI did their best due diligence, then there should be nothing to hide there. I said the same thing about Kash Patel refusing to allow further investigation to see if there was some type of foreign intelligence that was attached to Tyler Robinson.
But not only that, Sabby, our buddy over here, Kash Patel, is not only denying people the opportunity to be able to see if there's some sort of, corruption going on or whatever. I'm going to show you all what Kash Patel is currently doing on Twitter before we continue this video. He is actively using his business account to attack people who are holding him accountable. And Candace Owens actually retweeted him. So let me see if I can pull this up for you all. Let's check this out. Watch this. He's using his business account. Here it is here. He says, I am proud of the work of this FBI. We're taking violent criminals off the streets in record numbers, crushing the fentanyl crisis, dismantling cartels, saving children. Are you now? You're saving children. I think there's one pretty big elephant in the room that would suggest the contrary. Hunting down terrorists and so much more. Let me be clear. We will not be distracted by baseless rumors or the noise from uninformed internet anarchists. He's calling people who's trying to investigate the clear corruption and red flags anarchists and the fake news. He sounded more and more like Trump. I've always said, criticize me all you want, but going after the people doing great work, my personal life, or those around me is a total disgrace. The disgustingly baseless attacks against Alexis, who is his girlfriend, a true patriot, and the woman I'm proud to call my partner in life are beyond pathetic. She is a rock-solid conservative and a country music sensation who has done more for this nation than most will in 10 lifetimes. That's some pretty high praise, buddy. I'm so blessed she's in my life. Attacking her isn't just wrong, it's cowardly and jeopardizes our safety. Being critical of you and what you're doing and how you're doing your job, or even who in the role that your girlfriend is playing in your life, because people are alleging that she may be his handler from a foreign nation. Doing this, you're saying, puts the FBI director's life in danger and his girlfriend. Okay. My love of family will always be my cornerstone, and you will never tear that down or keep me from them. I and this FBI will stay laser focused on our mission and continue the reform we promised. You are not continuing. You're not even doing half the things that you promised and all the things you were talking about on podcasts. We're building this bureau from the ground up. Kash Patel, before he came into office, said that he would take the current, iteration of the FBI, the literal building, and he would turn it into some sort of deep state museum. That is what Kash Patel said himself. And he would take the 700 or whatever odd number of FBI members, and he'd send them out throughout the country and tell them to do their jobs because they're technically high-paid police officers. He said, go catch criminals and bad guys. This is not what this guy has been doing. He hasn't arrested anyone from the quote-unquote deep state. And to our supposed allies stand silent, your silence is louder than the clickbait haters. Candace Owens responded and said, I don't care about Alexis one way or another, but I want to point out that the head of the FBI is tweeting out in defense of his girlfriend. Not a wife, but a girlfriend. We are just not a serious nation whatsoever. Yeah, let's continue.
If you did your due diligence, there should be nothing to hide.
Bingo.
So this is murky. This is very weird to me. Turning Point USA, the campus apparently chapter, was the one that submitted this application according to the local news station here. It's just very, very strange to me.
Security measures, end quote. The campus also has expressed concern that the records could interfere in any investigation and someone's right to a fair trial. Tyler Robinson is charged with Kirk's murder. Fox 13 plans an appeal of the denial, and we are still pursuing a variety of records related to the Kirk shooting.
And I said this before, and this isn't even a rhetorical question. There may be an answer. There may be a legitimate answer for this question, and I just don't understand it. So you all let me know if I'm missing something. How could releasing the files and allowing people to see what the security detail was, if there ever was one, how could that jeopardize Tyler Robinson's right to a fair trial? How? If anything, I see how it could help him. What are we doing here? It's just the truth is the truth. It shouldn't matter how it comes out, right? Am I missing something? This makes no sense.
For now, in the
Okay, so they're trying to file an appeal and they're looking for more information. We're going to come back to this video for a second because I do want to ask a question there about the number of attendees. So I actually went to Utah Valley's website. Let me show you this here. I went onto their website, and this is the page here for on-campus organizations. So there's two pages that they have. There's one for external organizations to submit an event, and then there is the one for the on-campus organizations, which also that's not uncommon, right? So I tried to see if I can get in to see as much as I can. However, their scheduling system is done by 25 Live. I've used 25 Live at universities as well. So what happens if you try to schedule an event or just to go into it here, just to see what you're looking at? The problem that you run into is this, right? Like you have to sign in. So their events are managed by 25 Live. It's a database that we used before at other universities. So I couldn't get in to see if I can take a look at the process as well. But I did just want to show you guys that. That being said, if you go back and you take a look at this crowd, I want you guys to guess, how many people do you think attended this event, right? If I were to make a guess, let's go back to
more than
the
100
part here where people were
more than
running so we can see. Probably at least 100 at a minimum, right?
Right.
Probably 100 minimum at that event. Okay. So technically, from my experience, that would require that you have security because you have at least 100 people. That's just from my experience. Maybe Utah Valley has a different rule about the number of people, but put these two things together, at least 100 people and a public figure, right? And then also the fact that that police question apparently was not on the form, even though it's a standard for Utah Valley University, according to the reporter there.
Right. And for those of you out there that may be buying into the concept or the idea that, well, they did not have the question on there because, TPUSA was thinking about setting up Charlie Kirk or something to the extent. I'm not pivoting off of my point. Those of you that follow me know what I believe. I'm buying into the theory so far throughout this video that if that was not a question that was proposed on this form, maybe it was because if the more security detail that was there, that wasn't Turning Point USA, the much harder it would be to pull off whatever it was that they did that day, which you already know what I think. I just don't want to keep repeating it on YouTube. It's a lot more difficult to pull that off if you have people that are not a part of TPUSA and not a part of whatever you're trying to convince people happened that day. They're going to be able to see that it probably wasn't what people think it was. So the less external people you have there, the better.
This is all important, and I'm telling you that this is relevant when we get to the dates of this as well. You'll also see Sam Parker posted this on Twitter. Same thing. Utah denied the official grandma request for Charlie Kirk's autopsy. Oh, this is different. Excuse me. My bad. Autopsy report. I wanted to touch on this as well. The autopsy report. Utah has denied an official grandma request for Charlie Kirk autopsy report by ignoring it. GRAMA is the Government Records Access and Management Act, and this is the Utah equivalent of FOIA. And you'll see here, I guess this is the screenshot he's sharing to show you your public records GRAMA request via the Open Records portal has not been answered within the allowed time limit. It has expired and is therefore considered a denial.
That was done on purpose. He's probably not the only person to request it. Sam and many others probably requested that, and probably not only that, but probably other documents as well. And they're purposely not responding to people. And they're probably going to lie and say, well, we have this overwhelming amount of requests and we're just not able to get to them. They're doing that stuff on purpose so that they don't have to send that information over. But at some point, it's going to come out.
The request was autopsy report for Charlie Kirk submitted to the state medical examiner. That submission date was October 8th. And then it goes on to say you have a right to an appeal. So here's the thing, folks. Okay. It expired because that request was not answered. But I'm here to tell you it wasn't answered on purpose so that it would expire. Right. Because let's just put all of this together again. Kash Patel does not want people looking further into this. The FBI does not want people looking further into it. I mean, surprise, surprise, the FBI has done this numerous times before in the past. So this isn't new. So they let it expire so that it's just dismissed. This is another question more people need to ask. Where is the autopsy report? Where is it?
Exactly. But that's not the only question, Sabby. There are other, because Candace Owens shared some document on her podcast of somebody from a hospital that showed her, that gave her reason to believe that Charlie Kirk was potentially taken to another hospital that was the one that was actually closer as opposed to the one that was farther away. I'm under the belief that that's just a distraction. I don't think the man was taken to a hospital, allegedly. Why would it be problematic to release the autopsy report? We already saw him get pow, right? So why would it be problematic for us to see a piece of paper with words on it? How could a piece of paper with words on it be more gruesome than the video footage? I'm going to propose the question this way. How can you present something to the public that doesn't exist?
Why is that something that is private? Why is that something that's not readily available to the public? I don't see what the big deal is, right? Because for sure, if the FBI is telling the truth, this shouldn't be an issue, right? And then let's go back to the dates. According to that reporter, the date that that application was submitted for that event was mid-July. You know what else happened mid-July?
Yeah, that freaking debate. I guarantee you, everybody, she's about to say the debate that happened between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer. We've covered that a couple of times on the channel. I said when that debate came out, I just couldn't understand what Charlie Kirk was doing. It was hurting his cause. It was hurting the things that he had been standing for.
This Turning Point USA debate
Bingo.
That Charlie Kirk moderated between Dave Smith and guess who? Josh Hammer.
Yep.
The same Josh Hammer that was apparently in that group chat. Not too happy about the fact that Charlie Kirk was saying that he wanted to leave the pro-Israel movement. You know what was mentioned at that debate? Here's one of the things that was discussed.
Look, if you support what Israel's doing in Gaza right now, I would just, like, my advice to you guys is just know that you never have a leg to stand on claiming to be pro-life for the rest of your life. Just saying that. If you, so it's okay to support
Let's not boo our speaker,
It's
Dave.
okay to support a policy that is killing babies.
Right.
All of a sudden, killing babies is negotiable. All right, fine. I'm just reading the room.
So, Dave, why don't you...
No, I'm not talking about for Hamas.
Hold on. Back up, Dave. Why don't
I just let you go
Dave,
on this whole long
I know,
thing?
I'm going to actually help you out here, Dave, okay? What I'm doing is I want you to tell the audience what's going on in Gaza, because some people in the audience don't know what's going on. So don't assume they know, and let's not get back...
Oh, okay. Well, I did assume that most people know that lots of babies are being killed in Gaza, but maybe I shouldn't have assumed that.
Don't be sarcastic about it, Dave. Instead, I mean this. Because
no, I meant that literally. I did assume that.
Information loop where they're on social media all the time, okay? So walk through numbers, walk through what animates you to say something like that.
Well, okay. Well, let me respond to a few of the things that Josh claimed. I mean, if you want to go, there was just a major report a couple weeks ago in Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, where they had a bunch of IDF soldiers. They actually had one who went on record who was saying that they were ordered to shoot at crowds of people who were going into
all right, what a libel left-wing filth, by the way.
So this is one of the things that was said at the Turning Point USA debate. I covered this. A lot of us covered this at that point in time because we were like, this was a good thing because this was said in front of a MAGA crowd, a crowd that supported Trump, a crowd that supports, Charlie Kirk, etc. They need to hear this. A crowd that is pro-life, they need to hear what was happening to people in Gaza. Dave Smith is correct there. That was reported via Haaretz from an IDF soldier that also, yes, he did say that they were instructed that when the Palestinians come to ask for food, come to get the food, to shoot them. They were instructed to do that. Again, he is debating Josh Hammer. Charlie Kirk is in the middle.
Literally.
Let's continue.
Well, no, hold on. Before we continue, this is very, very important for us to say. Did you all hear what Charlie Kirk just did? Dave Smith is in the midst of completely dismantling, and you're about to see this as we continue to play this video. He embarrassed Josh Hammer. If you know nothing about the Israel-Hamas, the Israel-Palestine, the Israel-Gaza war, if you know nothing about it, and you watch this with an honest mind, it's easy to know who's winning the debate when one person is criticizing the other person, their character, making ad hominems, but the other person is talking about the issue at hand. The other person is ignoring the issue at hand and only making ad hominem attacks. That's how you know. This was like ultra heavyweight against light featherweight. It was a beating. But this is the bigger part I want you all to please take away from this before we continue. This is one of the most important parts of this video. A lot of people forget something. When someone loses their life, or when somebody thinks that someone lost their life, they tend to either remember the best things about that person, or they remember the worst things about that person. And what I'm here to remind a lot of people is that the unfortunate truth is that right before everything happened with Charlie Kirk, whether he's alive or not, was that before that day happened at Utah, at UVU, a lot of the conservative base was not happy with Charlie Kirk. A lot of them, not just Nick Fuentes fans, because he was so pro this foreign country, this foreign state, this foreign nation, that people just couldn't understand it. They're saying, bro, it's hypocritical. How can you not see what they're doing? And then obviously Charlie Kirk started to turn there towards the end. But this is why I'm mentioning it. When I first watched this debate, I was extremely confused because I said, why would Charlie Kirk host Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith? Why is that important? Dave Smith is one of the best debaters on this topic that you can find all across the internet. He's at the very top. He would say that he's not, but he is. He is exceptional. He's very well informed. He's very well read. He's very respectful. He's very well spoken. He knows how to debate. He doesn't, bow down under pressure. He steps up to the pressure. Meanwhile, he's debating a guy who I believe is an agent and a spy in Josh Hammer. Josh Hammer is not even a better debater than Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk will wipe the floor with Josh Hammer. So why is Josh Hammer here debating Dave Smith? Dave Smith is completely out of Josh Hammer's league. Is it possible that Charlie Kirk was doing this on purpose? And what sealed the deal for me and answered that question for me was right after this, what did Charlie Kirk do? Charlie Kirk hosted a think tank, some sort of workshop, if you will, where he had young TPUSA chapter leaders, young people, much younger than him, college students, where they all convened to talk about the Israel-Gaza war and talk about their opinions on this foreign country. Many of them had extremely critical things to say about this foreign nation. That sealed the deal for me. I said Charlie Kirk is, what is it called? When you're using other people to say what you really think, you're just not in a position, whether that be a safe position, a comfortable position, to say it yourself. So he was using other people. Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, was using Dave Smith. That's the reason Charlie Kirk just said what he said. Hold on, Dave Smith. How about you educate people? I'm going to go back. I want you all to hear what he just said. Watch this.
killing babies. All of a sudden, killing babies is negotiable. All right, fine. I'm just reading the room.
So, Dave, why don't
No, I'm not talking about for Hamas.
Hold on. Back up, Dave. Why don't
I just let you go on this whole long thing?
I know. I'm going to actually help you out here, Dave. Okay. What I'm doing, I want you to tell the audience what's going on in Gaza, because some people in the audience don't know what's going on. So don't assume they know.
Why would you be doing that, Charlie Kirk? You're giving ammunition to a guy that's already fully loaded. Dave Smith is very well versed in this topic. He's an exceptional debater. Charlie Kirk is handing him more ammo. Hold on, Dave Smith. How about you tell this pro-Israel crowd why they should no longer support this place? How about you go into granular details? Speak about the granularities. Why would Charlie Kirk be doing that? Because this is what Charlie Kirk wanted to say himself. He was using Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson to say what he was really feeling, but he was feeling the pressure from his donors and he couldn't say it himself. So in the name of free speech, he's allowing Tucker and Dave Smith to debate Josh Hammer and to say the opposing views because he's a conservative and he's all about pro-speech. Free speech. No. Charlie Kirk was using these people to say what he really felt because he no longer had the position that he had 2 years ago. That's what happened.
That Tyler Robinson was the one who shot in same week and started to question for the state of Israel. As he also pointed out, he also points out that they were instructed to kill people as they were coming to retrieve food. Again, there's a lot that is being said here. And he also said that if you are pro-life, then you should not support babies being killed in Gaza.
Facts. That's a fact.
Long story short, folks, a lot was said. And I would say someone like Benjamin Netanyahu, who definitely supported Charlie Kirk and looked at an organization like Turning Point USA and the evangelical Christians as crucial support for the state of Israel. So imagine having someone on that stage say what Dave Smith just said right next to Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk didn't do a lot of interrupting there. And he let Dave Smith get the message out.
Which was his point. That's why he had Dave Smith. Charlie Kirk scoured the internet. He saw who was at the very top of being the best debaters, and he brought them to Turning Point. There's a reason for that. Josh Hammer was embarrassed, and I think Charlie Kirk did that on purpose.
That message went out to hundreds of people there at that event who probably went back home after that and started to question things about Israel. Fast forward to what we have now, a number of younger MAGA supporters openly questioning Israel and the U.S. relationship with Israel to the vice president, J.D. Vance, was just happened the other day. So too much got out. Too much information went out, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree. Absolutely. Gratified. I agree. I watched the whole debate. It wasn't fair. Dave Smith embarrassed that dude. And we're about to see some more clips of it so people can see it who hasn't watched it before. He embarrassed the guy.
Same week as that application was submitted for Utah Valley University. Wow. Now, it could just be a coincidence.
I'm sick of coincidences. There's a reason I have a series on this channel called More Than a Coincidence. You mean to tell me the same week that Josh Hammer came into this debate and humiliated himself, he was far out of his league. Charlie Kirk is supposed to be pro this foreign nation. Josh Hammer shows up to debate a guy who is much better and more well-informed, much better debater than him. The same week they scheduled for Charlie Kirk to go to UVU. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. I'm not thinking that. I'm not thinking that his donors or the people upset with him scheduled it. I'm thinking something else. But I'm going to get through this clip first, and then I'm going to tell you who I actually think scheduled it and the reason they did it.
But considering that the FBI has not been transparent about this investigation, considering that Kash Patel doesn't want people to look into it further to see if there was foreign intelligence ties to Tyler Robinson, considering the fact that I have not seen any evidence that proves that Tyler Robinson was the one who shot and killed Charlie Kirk, I think people need to pay close attention to this. We'll go on a little bit more here, and I'm going to show you something else that he said.
There was somebody who killed a bunch of people, and then they ran into a school, and they're like using the kids as human shields. They're hiding behind the kids. And then your local police department came over and said, blow up the school and killed all the kids. You wouldn't go, well, they have no moral responsibility because they were using them as human shields. Yeah, as Bill Burr said in his special, you got to work around that, bro. And Hamas is terrible. Nobody's arguing with that. But that doesn't mean there's no responsibility for the people dropping the bomb.
Got it.
And by the way, again, as you don't want to talk about, how about when they're shooting at people trying to get aid? There were no human shields there.
I do want to talk
Go look
about
at a picture of Gaza. The human shields does not describe most of what's happened to Gaza. Yes, there are certain instances. And by the way, Israel also has a bunch of military targets in civilian areas. I'm just saying that doesn't actually mean it's okay to just now you have a moral get out of jail free card to do whatever you want to the poor innocent people who, as you pointed out, are also victims of Hamas.
Josh.
And that's what people.
How do you argue against that? How do you argue against that? He's cooking. He's cooking. And Charlie Kirk is letting him cook. How does Josh Hammer respond to that?
So
Are objecting to. We're going broke. We can't afford to do this anymore. This is like me taking out money on a credit card to lend to my friends so I can act like I'm the big shot who's lending them money. We are destroying our own young people. You, not me. I'm not a young person. I'm fine. I'm in my 40s and I make good money. Your whole generation is getting screwed over by this because we have to devalue our currency in order to keep up with the demands for this spending that we cannot afford. And so the answer is that we need to pull back. We need to focus on America. That's what America First is supposed to be about.
Cheering.
the crowd starts cheering and
Yep.
clapping. You
Yep.
see, that was not supposed to happen, not with that type of message, because he ends that by telling them, this is not America first. We have to look out for America, right?
Right.
So, again, look at what happened during that time. That's coming from Dave Smith. There's another part where he talked about Epstein. I do want to show this one as well. Something else that he said at this event.
Watch this crap. If you want to see how bad of a job Josh Hammer did, watch what's about to happen here. You see in his hand, Josh Hammer has a piece of paper, everybody. So before I play this clip, I want you to understand what he's doing here. This guy, Josh Hammer, who I believe is a spy, and not a spy for this country, I believe that this guy is also, allegedly, everything I said is alleged, I believe that this guy may be, or what could have been potentially a handler of Charlie Kirk's. And I'm about to tell you here in a moment why I think that, why I believe that. But in his hand, Josh Hammer, this is just how unprepared he was. He came with a list of things that he couldn't memorize, of bad things or critical things that Dave Smith has said about Donald Trump, which are all valid criticisms. By the way, Dave Smith voted for Donald Trump, which makes it even better that he was very critical of somebody that he voted for. He voted for him for a particular reason. If you don't do the things that I voted for you for, that you promised us, it makes absolute sense to be critical. Josh Hammer's strategy here is to tell this pro-Trump crowd the critical things that Dave Smith has said about Donald Trump so that they can get upset with him. It doesn't go over well for him. Let's take a look.
Dave Smith, July 8th, 2025. In the last month, Donald Trump has launched a war of aggression on behalf of a foreign government, exploded the debt, announced that he's continuing the Biden policy of arming Ukraine, and covered up a giant child rape operation. So according to my interlocutor, Donald Trump is not just engaging in wars on behalf of a foreign government, he is also covering up the world's giant pedophilic child sex trafficking ring, allegedly, I presume, on behalf of a foreign government as well. So I'm disgusted, frankly, that this man is on stage, but I'll end it at that.
Okay, well,
the last thing I'll say is that last part that Josh Hammer said, to be honest with you, I'm frankly, I'm disgusted that I'm on stage with this guy. Dave Smith will come out on his podcast like the very next day after this debate and share how snakish this comment was. Why did he feel like it was snakish? Not because him and Josh Hammer are friends in real life, because they're not. He said it was snakish was because they had all been talking, him, Josh Hammer, and Charlie Kirk had all been talking and was very friendly to one another. They prepped for the debate. They talked about what was off limits, what was fair to talk about. They had great energy, great spirit, just so this guy can come out here because he lost the debate in an embarrassing fashion to then say that he was disgusted for sharing the stage with Dave Smith. Wow.
Remember, Josh Hammer, puppet for Israel, right?
Got it. So you can see peace is hard. I'm trying to keep the peace. Now,
I'm not going to keep pausing, I promise you, but this is the last thing I really need to say. Did you all notice what Charlie Kirk just did there? He goes, as you can see, Dave Smith, I'm trying to keep the peace. Peace is hard. Now, I think most of us can agree that Charlie Kirk has never come off. He's come off as several things, many things. I think we can all agree that Charlie Kirk has never come off as a pushover. What do I mean by that? Charlie Kirk is a very, or was, or however you look at it, a very assertive, very well-spoken, very bold person. He said that college was a scam, right? He openly talked down on Muslims. He openly talked down on certain things when it came to the so-called black community that I agree with, much of it. He openly talked out and called out Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy, and the list goes on. This was a very bold dude. How come when it comes to someone sitting right beside you and you told them before the debate started, no ad hominems, please keep it professional, stick to the topic at hand? That is the exact opposite of what Josh Hammer did as he sit there with his legs crossed like some entitled brat. This is what he did the entire debate as Dave Smith wiped the floor with this guy. He was embarrassed, so he resorted to ad hominems. If you're Charlie Kirk and you're watching this, my question is, why are you tolerating this? Charlie Kirk, why are you who is this Josh Hammer person? And why is it that you can't stop him, or you can't, he feels so entitled to be up here with ad hominems? Who is he to you? Where did this person come from? The point I'm getting at here is that it was obvious to me, it was clear to me, everything I said is alleged, that Charlie Kirk had no choice but to tolerate Josh Hammer because someone much higher and much more powerful than Charlie Kirk placed Josh Hammer there. So he had to deal with whatever came with Josh Hammer. So when Dave Smith comes up and does exactly what he's supposed to do, Josh Hammer does the opposite. Charlie Kirk had to deal with it.
Dave, I want to give you an opportunity, about 4 minutes to respond to that. But also, I do want to, now that we had the opening salvos and the Tomahawk missiles launched, let's respond as you see fit. No, and then bring us to the 12-day war, because let's stay focused on that.
Yeah,
we can.
Well, the thing, Charlie,
but defend yourself.
Sure.
Obviously.
Well, the thing is, Charlie, as you may have noticed, and some of you may have seen some of my other debates. Every single time I come up here to debate issues, and they come up here to debate me and my character. It's all they have every single time, because they can't actually take on any of the arguments. And so the most pathetic low-hanging fruit of, you guys like Trump, this guy said bad things about Trump. Listen, guys, I'm a free American. I supported Donald Trump in this last election. Yes, he did just actively cover up a giant child rapist ring, and I'm going to criticize him for that, okay? And I'm sorry, after all these years of us right-wingers saying, protect the children, come on, that's bad for your soul if you don't. You speak up about that. It's horrible what he's doing. And, you know, as far as the actual substance of what Josh said here, which there really wasn't much, but I already pointed this out the last time we debated, his topic about how Sharon was against the war in Iraq is total nonsense.
Okay, then he gets into Iraq, but the point is he also brought up Epstein. Guys, it's not just the people who were present in that audience that day. It's all the people, all the MAGA supporters, in particular the younger ones, that watch this across YouTube.
Bingo. And if you go to the YouTube section of this debate, I'm willing to bet everything I own that there was at least 97, 98% of the comments clowning Josh Hammer and praising Dave Smith. That's under a Charlie Kirk video. What does that tell you?
A lot of us covered this. So the other thing that he brought up was Epstein. And this is important because, yes, Dave Smith did vote for Donald Trump, but he was still willing to criticize him and call him out. This is not a message that Donald Trump would want to get across. This is not a message that Benjamin Netanyahu would want to get out there to get across, bringing up Epstein, bringing back the children into everything, making the connection between the children in Gaza and the children that were exploited and that were violated on Epstein Island, making that connection. And then he also tells you that he is right wing and that if anything, they should be standing for the children. That was not supposed to happen.
Yep.
And Charlie Kirk allowed that conversation to take place, right? One thing I will say is that he did bring different ideas across, right? Like different people with opposing views and all that type of stuff. But the point is this, that message got out mid-July. The submission for the application at Utah Valley University for that Charlie Kirk rally was also mid-July. And then we fast forward to August, which is where Max Blumenthal's article comes in handy again about that Hamptons event. So the Hamptons event takes place in August.
And more people started coming out and more people started talking, and people were talking to me. And these were people who had knowledge of a tumultuous, stormy meeting held in the Hamptons during the first week of August, convened, according to multiple sources, with knowledge of this meeting, intimate knowledge of this meeting, by the billionaire ultra-Zionist financier Bill Ackman, who's close to Netanyahu and his kind of network in the United States. Charlie Kirk was summoned along with an array of young, sort of vapid, very avaricious conservative influencers who seem to be sort of in Israel's back pocket to set a very pro-Israel tone for this meeting. And Charlie Kirk was, according to one source, hammered by Ackman and others for allowing Israel critics, very prominent conservative voices like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, or the anti-Zionist Jewish comedian Dave Smith, to appear at his events. And actually, Charlie Kirk was planning to host many of these same figures again in December, and he had just added to his TPUSA major, I think it's called America Fest in December, the premier critic of Israel in Congress. I didn't say Republican critic. I just said premier critic because that's what she is now. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
So let's just put the timeline together, folks.
Yep.
Mid-July, Dave Smith debates Josh Hammer in front of a Turning Point USA audience, calls out Epstein, calls out Trump, calls out Israel, calls out the kids being killed in Gaza. Mid-July, the application for Utah Valley University is submitted for the Charlie Kirk event. August, there is that meeting in the Hamptons with Bill Ackman where Charlie Kirk is allegedly confronted about his positions on Israel and apparently wanting to have people like Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene be a part of America Fest. And also remember, there's also this statement from Candace Owens, as she showed people as well, that he wanted to bring her back to Turning Point USA. September, Charlie Kirk is killed. So for me, it's just putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. I think it is very bizarre that that police question was not there present on that application for that particular event, even though they said it was standard. I think it's very strange that they do not want to submit to the reporter their security plan. And I believe that's because they probably did not have one.
Yeah. Thanks, Sabby. I appreciate that big time. Incredible video. Once again, the link to Sabby's video is in the description. Please go show her some love. Please hit the like button, everybody. I would really appreciate it. It really helps the video. Let's try to get this video to 3,000 likes. As a reminder, follow me on Instagram and Twitter as we have officially started posting clips. We're going to try to build our platform over there. Here's what I think is going on. Everything I say in this video is alleged. These are not facts. These are just my opinions. And I'm going to try to say this in the most cryptic or the most careful way that is YouTube appropriate. Many of you are probably thinking the obvious. The same week that he hosted Dave Smith and Josh Hammer and Tucker Carlson at this Turning Point USA event, he got a lot of backlash for it. Was the same time of the month that they scheduled Charlie Kirk for the UVU campus visit. A lot of people can say whatever hocus pocus happened that day, they did it to attack Charlie Kirk. Let me tell you what I think could have happened. There are reports, many reports out there that says that Charlie Kirk said multiple times that he felt like this foreign nation was going to unalive him. He said that multiple times. I believe that there is a chance that Charlie Kirk may have jumped ahead of this and may have had himself scheduled for this campus meeting because he saw things are heating up. And so he jumped ahead of this so that he can be a part of something to remove himself before they actually removed him for real. I think that's a possibility. I do not think it's a coincidence that all of this stuff happened around the same time. The Google searches. Remember the Google searches? A lot of that stuff was happening around the same time. Now, in fairness, or to be devil's advocate, that would hurt my argument or hurt my position is that a lot of those Google searches were coming from the Middle East. It wasn't coming from Charlie Kirk and his team. All right. But the fact that their campus is not willing to release their security detail information is not interesting. That's the safe word. It's suspicious. It's problematic. And even potentially criminal. That's what I believe. That's my position. All right. So let me check the super chats, and then we're gonna log off. And once again, as a reminder, once this video officially ends, because any comment that you give right now will not stick. It's going to disappear once the live ends. So what I'm about to ask you to do, please wait until the video ends to do this. Hop in the comment section and let me know if you want me to put out a video covering the Erica Kirk, JD Vance weird situation. If you want my thoughts, or if you want me to just leave it alone and you don't care. Because I am working on other documentaries that have nothing to do with this right now. Hopefully it'll be out in the next day or two. So anyways, I'm going to read off the couple of super chats that I have. Y'all got to start coming in, sending in more comments, man. Like, I be wanting to interact with y'all. Send in more comments. I don't know if I'm supposed to remind y'all to send in super chats. But anyways. Ronnie, thank you so much for the $20 super chat, man. This is final proof that this entire event was an intelligence psyop, trauma-based mind control. I'm with you. Brother, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you, man. And it's obvious. When you have the FBI director shutting down people from looking into it. Come on, bro. Miss Elaine, as always, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. Appreciate it. Is it Eileen Mary O'Malley? Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Great job digging. God bless you. Thank you so much. Heck yeah. Somebody said bring Peaches back. All right, I'm going to grab Peaches real quick. And hold on, let me I'll go and grab Peaches. Hold on. All right, man. Let me see. This is Peaches. What up, Peaches? Say what up to everybody. And that's Cleo right there. What up, Cleo? Come here. Here. Sit. Oh, she up. Oh, what up? What up? Good girl. All right. I gotta go. Get up out of here. All right, y'all. Love y'all, man. Oh, $10 super chat. Great work, D. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Great work, Didi. I think all of this with Charlie Kirk is a distraction from something way bigger that they are doing. I agree, and I'm keeping my eye on what that is. I'm aware of the digital IDs that's happening in the UK, and apparently they've been doing something to a smaller extent in China that they've been testing out for like the past maybe 5 years. I saw a video that I may need to do a video on that, because I understand that this Charlie Kirk stuff don't really affect our life directly, but I do believe from a policy perspective that these psyops will impact people's lives either directly or indirectly, one way or the other. You know what I mean? So that's why I cover it so much, because I do think that this stuff is important. Carenza, I love that name. Carenza. Carenza Gibson. That's a really good name. Carenza Gibson, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. What are your thoughts about the Egyptian planes? That episode of Candace was extremely complex, and it was full of information. And she was even saying herself, she's probably going to make a couple of errors, but she shared a lot of information. But I saw a guy, Sam Parker. Let's go over here to Sam Parker. Hold on. Sam Parker shared some stuff, and I was like, he actually shared an update that made it way more interesting. Let's see. Sam Parker. Boom. Let's see. Where you at? Charlie Kirk update. The two mysterious. Now let me see how it's showing over here. Let me make this bigger. Okay, there we go. Where we at? Boom. All right, it says Charlie Kirk update. The two mysterious Egyptian planes shadowing Charlie Kirk and TPUSA events over the last 2 years, including the day of the assassin powwowing, as reported by Candace yesterday, consistently fly in and out of Cairo, Egypt. Here's why that might be more interesting than you realize. Just 37 miles away from Cairo is Inchas Air Base, the home and primary training center for the El Saka Forces, or Thunderbolts, Egypt's elite special operations unit, patterned after the U.S. Army Rangers and trained by the U.S. Delta Force, U.S. Navy SEALs, and British SAS. The unit, established in 1953, focuses on airborne insertions, raids, and unconventional warfare. Is this some of that foreign involvement Cash Patel doesn't want being investigated? If you have any information on these flights from anywhere in the world, please send your tips to Candace or me. That is crazy. What do I think? I think that if there's something there, right? I don't ever plan position myself to be the expert. I just position myself to be a person with questions. And sometimes I may have answers. I think that if there is legitimacy to this claim, then I believe that it's possible that someone else, somewhere else, used Egypt's military force or military intel to keep a close eye on Charlie Kirk. What that means as far as like doing something to Charlie, I don't know. Because again, I need to see the evidence that something happened to the dude. People are saying, well, you mean besides the fact that he was pow right in front of us? I'm not so sure what I saw was real. That's my position. So I think it's interesting. I'm going to use the safe word for that. I think it's interesting, Carenza, but I'm not so sure what it means as of yet. Yep. But I'm going to go ahead and log off. I'm not going to try to make this too long. I don't have any money for a super chat. Yeah, I started to stop myself earlier as I was saying it, because I don't want to ever be that content creator that's saying, send me money. That's not what it's about. It's that if you all have super important things to say, there are so many comments that I won't catch them all. That's all I mean. Hit the like button. Once again, I'm gonna go ahead and log out of here, man. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Until next time. Peace.